All right. Going to screen share again.
All righty.
And back
Okay.
to it. Okay.
Okay, so now the picture you see here, we wanted to put this up there because I think everybody's very familiar with this. It was our original shell building, and it is now currently owned by East Coast Drilling and Blasting Incorporated. Scott Carl is the CEO and Michael CFO. The number of jobs is pretty amazing. They have 100+ jobs. They're not all at this facility because they are out in the field working, but all of the processing of their payroll, the repairs on the equipment they're using, and business strategy and meetings, everything is held at this particular location at Triangle North Franklin. The CapEx here is $2,100,000. You know the square footage, 33,900 square feet. However, very excited to say that they are already planning for an expansion. They've already outgrown this space, which is great. So they will be building out. And as you may recall, when we did the shell building, we made sure that the dirt to the side of the building was such that they could just blow out the wall and expand. And we're delighted that this company will be doing that. I also will recognize Scott Carl and East Coast Drilling and Blasting. If you are familiar with Essex Place in Franklinton, Greg, you know Scott very well. He is one of the main investors in that particular venture in Franklinton, and his company is the one that is doing all of the work that you see on US number 1 and 1A. So you can see his equipment doing what it does, which is drilling and blasting and making that a spot in the front for retail and commercial development. Okay. And this last one, we'll just skip through that real quickly. We will say that we have another lot that is under consideration for sale right now, and we'll have more details on that coming forward later. But I do want to highlight for you that we are, as we mentioned in the beginning, one of 4 industrial parks as Triangle North. Franklin County is the only one that has seen activity. And we are pleased that we are doing exactly as it was set up by the General Assembly, in that we are sharing in revenue. So for this past year, we have a total amount that was approved by the commissioners of $41,573.14. That is then divided equally among the 4 Triangle North parks and distributed. And so we keep $10,418.29 of that, and then the other 3 parks get the same amount. So very pleased that Triangle North Franklin is able to do this, and anxious for other parks to join in with us as well. Any questions? Okay. All right, not hearing any questions. Matthew, do you want us to move on to the project updates and data snapshot?
How about it?
All righty. Okay. And Andy, I'll seek your help again on each of you should have received by email the data snapshot update, the demographics, as we say. And I think the demographics are not a surprise to anyone as that is coming up, but you should have it in hand. If not, the population, of course, same, that remains at 69,965 currently. The piece that is of most interest is to the right with the unemployment there. Do want to highlight what you see. And for us, we wish all numbers came out at the same time so that we could say everything's happening at the same time. But as you know, there is a lag in the data. So this is the most current data as we have it today. And you will see that in the US for the month of June, 11.1% unemployment. For North Carolina, the 12.7% unemployment is reflective of May. That is the most current we have for North Carolina. For Franklin County, the county numbers again lag far behind the US and the state. Franklin County in the month of March, 11.2% unemployment. We are watching this very regularly. We know when they come out, and we try to keep everyone updated as quickly as possible once the unemployment data comes out, although they've been really good about sending out press releases when the unemployment data comes out. I don't think any of these numbers are any surprises to anyone. For us on the labor force, and if you could come over here, piece I want to highlight is that our labor force in May, we had 29,152 people in our labor force. However, the telling sign is right below that, where if you'll slide down, Andy, those that are employed, you see the big drop, 25,798. And that's not a number that we want to see. That's not what we had been seeing until COVID-19. As you know, consistently, we had seen a labor force number, and the number employed, we maybe had 1,000 that weren't employed in the past. And so you can see this is a dramatic difference in Franklin County as it is across the nation. So if we'll slide over to permit activity though, I think it's very important to highlight this. While all of this has been going on, the home building has not slowed down. The permits have not slowed down. And we're going to do a little caveat on this particular slide for you that there is a new system in place now with the permits department. For those of you who are in the home building industry, you're probably well aware it's electronic now, which is wonderful. But there are a few little glitches in it there with us pulling some of the data for commercial permits. So just note, we are making the caveat that this is what we have today on the commercial. That piece, you may see a slight change when we have next report. But I want you to take a look at the month of June, how many housing permits were issued? 135. That is amazing. If you talk to Scott Hammerbacher, he says that business is overwhelming to say the least, but it's good. We're still seeing home building moving forward. So that's a positive. All righty. And then if we will move to the next, which is the projects. With the project generation.
Hey, Richard, let me jump in real quick on the home building side, if that's okay.
Yes.
So one of the major factors is I attended a webinar talking about why home building is still doing well, even though we're seeing a downturn. And we may still see something, a lag, but right now they're not predicting a lag. And the main reason, the difference between now and 2008, 2009, is that in 2006 and 2007, there was 5 years of inventory on the ground, which means that if every builder in the triangle stopped building, it would take 5 years at the current rate to build through everything. And at that time, you know, we were booming. So we were outbuilding our demand. The difference now is that there's barely 2 months of inventory on the ground at our current demand. And so because of that, there is a higher demand in the market, even with a downturn, which is good because home building by itself represents about 1/7 of the total economy. So that's good. And they compared it to other recessions in the past, that kind of stuff, which are the differences. So they don't expect any dramatic changes in the home building industry.
That's great. That's very interesting.
Matthew, did they publish a report or anything like that and give it to you that we could see as well?
Yep, I'll dig that up. I'll send it to you.
Awesome. Thank you.
That'd be great. Thank you, Matthew. So going back to our project generation, the home building has not slowed down during this time period. And I will tell you what we have found interesting is that the project generation has not slowed down either. you can see the number of projects that we've been managing through the office. What we have seen different with these projects is how they change. A project may come to us 1 month saying, I want an existing building and I'm not willing to consider anything but that. And then that project will do a search throughout the state, come back to us, and now all of a sudden they're willing to consider something different. So we've also seen that a lot of people, while they are wanting requests for information, they are telling us up front that their time for their decision is much further out than it had been previously. But you can see there's still quite a bit of activity with projects. And this is consistent with what we see through the state's economic development partnership as well. Okay, and if you'll move over to buildings versus sites, I think that's pretty telling. No surprise here, you've heard us say it before, but the first choice, it seems, for all of the industries, especially in today's light, is if they can find an existing building, they prefer to find that. In today's environment, there is a demand for building and a lack of inventory. And again, no surprises there. We have been very aggressive in people who come to us and say, we want a building. We immediately go back and say, there's a lack of inventory. Would you consider a build to suit? Because we know we can get you a build to suit done within the time frame you need it, or maybe even faster. So that has been our pitch, is to be very aggressive in build to suit and try to persuade them away from an existing building if we do not have the inventory. Okay, Andy, you can slide on to the next. The project type, no surprises here. Manufacturing is consistently what is requested. And that again matches what is happening in the state. For us, it's diverse manufacturing, and that's a good thing, as we've seen what has happened with how industries have been impacted. If you move over to the other side where you see the square footage, no surprises there. On square footage, we have kind of a sweet spot, that 10 to 29,000 square foot, and then it jumps up 100,000 above. So those are our two places where there seems to be a real need for inventory. We've seen more, I think, in the 10,000 to 30,000 recently than we did before. People a little bit shy about going into the really big ones recently. Okay. In terms of manufacturing sectors or acreage, we'll stay with acreage. We can just stay with acreage. Okay. The request for site acreage, I think it's self-explanatory there. And I will say that with the Lewisburg industrial site, getting the grants that it has, we have tried to be very, very aggressive in getting that out as a site, along with Triangle North Franklin. Lewisburg industrial site is a really good site that we're trying to do everything we can to promote. Okay, and there are your manufacturing sectors. The last thing I want to say before we leave this is, in looking at the community investment reports for the first quarter of 2020 from the state, they did announce 1.15 billion announced investments in the state of North Carolina. In the first quarter, this was of course before COVID-19 really took effect. But what I did like is that the largest first quarter 2020 projects by investment, hats off to Lewisburg, activated carbon innovation, the manufacturing, the investment estimated at 85 million, did make it as the #4 highest in the state for announced investments. So hats off to Lewisburg and activated carbon innovation. Okay.
All right, Richie, Andy, y'all finished up?
We are finished.
All right. All right, so let's turn over to municipal reports. Let me just go across the screen. Who wants to start first? Everybody at once? Greg, you guys want to go first?
I'll be glad to. Wanted to kind of update from where we've been since the COVID-19 crisis. We've moved into our new town hall. We're now in the old First Citizens Bank building over at 101 North Main Street. So come by, visit us. We're now in the process of selling our previous town hall and annex. It looks like we've got a confirmed offer on our annex, and we're still looking for a buyer for our old town hall. We had our budget approved, and we cut our tax rate consistent with our plans for trying to reduce our tax rate to make ourselves more competitive. They've now sold out all the houses in Essex Place and did them all without having to do any spec building. And we're at a kind of difficult spot because we've got plans for 200 more units in Essex Place, 170 units on Lane Store Road, somewhere between 300 and 500 on the Thompson property, and we are without water allocation to be able to take care of those. So we're at a desperate spot in terms of development on the residential side, and just hoping that the county commissioners will be able to actually create get an agreement to get it so that we can continue to grow. But right now we're kind of jammed without some water, quite honestly, allocation. And our builders are getting really frustrated with the process. So I was happy that the county commissioners said that they're now in negotiations to do that, and we're hoping that they can bring that into fruition really quickly because this demand is really waiting for it to happen.
Mr. Bethea, Ms. Dickerson has a comment.
Yeah, I was just going to comment on that in case you didn't hear our Monday night meeting, that we are going to be going into negotiations with the city of Raleigh to help with our short-term water issue. And we're should be having our report soon, I think, on our long-term water. So yes, we want you to have water. We want everybody, and we're working as diligently as we can. So I appreciate you.
Right. Thank you. I appreciate that. So we'll encourage you to continue and really try to get that to get done quickly while the demand is so great for us. And then I suppose I'd end it with we're going to be opening up downtown, a newly revitalized and kind of exciting downtown. I don't know how many of you have had the opportunity to come to downtown Franklinton lately, but we've got 13 buildings under renovation at this point. So July 22nd, we're going to do kind of an opening of the new downtown Franklinton. We're looking for brokers and potential tenants, investors, and hoping that folks who want to be a part of downtown Franklinton can come and join us. We're going to start that morning at Town Hall, probably go from about 9 to 12 with a tour of downtown. We'll have some folks who know about the history of most of the buildings, but you'll also get a chance to see much of the upfitting that's going on now. We're at that stage where most of the basic structures have been worked on, and now we're at the stage of folks being able to know kind of what the potential might be and deciding what they'd like that building to be. And so we've got commercial spaces, we've got residential spaces, we've got even spaces for food trucks. And so we're really looking for kind of things. We've got outdoor spaces, we've got indoor spaces. We've redone our Pocket Park. We've just got some exciting things going on. I hope you get a chance. If you don't make it on the 22nd, Hope you'll come by and just do a tour of downtown Franklin. Look, it's a different place. We've got different outdoor furniture, benches and garbage cans and planters that we'll have at that point as well. So please come. We'll be starting at 9 o'clock that day.
Mr. Bethea, if I may add a comment to that, invitations will be going out so that you can RSVP to it. And having seen it from before, during, and where it is now, congratulations to y'all. And I know you've got a number of businesses that you're going to be making some announcements on that day, correct?
We're looking forward to it. It's going to be a great day, and I think folks are getting excited about it. And I hope more of you will come join us in it.
All right. Ms. Stewart or Jonathan, you want to go next?
Sure, thanks, Matt. I'll just touch on the IDF grant that we got from the state that Richie mentioned, $2.4 million from IDF Industrial Development Fund. The town will be throwing in about $800,000, so total investment 3.2. We've put out RFQs for engineering for the roads, water, and sewer. Should have those by the end of July and can choose those folks at the August meeting, and then start some design work and start moving forward on getting that one going. We've had some interest in it, so it's quite perfect that right when we're about to build roads and put water and sewer, we have a bunch of people that want to buy the property, which is going to completely change the design. So this is going to be an interesting project to work on, to go through, and I'm sure it'll change probably more times than we're expecting as we go through it. So looking forward to getting that going. Downtown still doing its thing. We lost a few businesses due to COVID, but we gained a few at the same time. So we zero sum there, but hoping to see the rest of the buildings that are being renovated turned over and opened up. And the town council most recently approved mixed use development in downtown. So some of these older buildings can be purchased and they have to submit an entire plan, but they can start looking to do residential upstairs with retail or some commercial use on the bottom floor. So we're looking forward to seeing a project come from that. And other than that, just still moving forward.
All right, thank you, Jonathan. I'm excited to see all the new improvements and everything going on in our downtowns. I mean, it's been a long time coming, and we've got, I mean, it's amazing just the past few years, a lot of the big changes we've seen and the opportunities that we've got that we haven't had in the past. I don't know if you guys realize, you probably do, but you know, we're only one of 20 counties out of 100 in North Carolina that actually are growing. And so we're in a fantastic time and opportunity to just take advantage of it. So I'm excited to be a part of it. Anybody else want to speak on anything? What's going on? Anybody from Vance Graham want to talk?
Absolutely. Thanks, Matthew. And good morning, everyone. I'll provide a brief overview. There's a lot going on in Franklin County, as I'm sure you are aware. One of our projects is the exchange of locations on the Franklin campus, whereby the Franklin County Schools will soon occupy Building 5 there on the Franklin campus. So we're excited about that. We're excited about providing the opportunity for continued growth. That's been shared on this call on several occasions, how your area is growing. And due to that growth, the Franklin County Schools are anticipated to grow at approximately 50 students per year. So like I said, we're excited to offer the opportunity for that growth. That growth was not achievable in the pod structure that Franklin County Schools was currently in for the early high school program. So just excited about that. The changes are made. If you're on campus, they're taking place every day in terms of the physical furniture and the switch out there. As a part of that, also, there's the agreement to help build on, from a VGCC standpoint, to our current campus. And I'm excited, and this is within the next 5 years, but I'm so excited, and kudos to Richie Duncan and the team there and others. We've also partnered with Cartar. We've been on a number of telephone conversations over the past 60 to 90 days. And that's with regard to an EDA grant that we have the opportunity to apply for. And we've also contacted the folks regionally out of Atlanta with EDA, and as well made some contacts with North Carolina Biotech. And Richie, I'll also share that as late as yesterday, I had a meeting with Dr. Damaris and also with Stuart Lyon in terms of moving the ball forward. And we should have so we're working on the application, and we should be in a position to submit that application in the near future. So that is, Rich, yes, although I haven't had the opportunity to touch base with you here over the past 24 hours, but that is moving forward at light speed. So thank you for initiating that.
We're a team.
We are. Just a couple of quick additional points. Many of you may have heard, and if you haven't seen her recently, that Dean Bobby Joe May has retired. And I know Bobby Joe is near and dear to everyone's heart on this call. So when you see her, please share our congratulations. We had a nice send-off for her. I guess it was on I think the 28th of June, somewhere along in there at the Franklin campus, and we maintained social distancing. It was kind of a virtual drive-through congratulations, but we are so excited for her, and I know that we'll continue to partner with Bobby Joe as she continues to be heavily involved in the Franklin County community. With that, as you may have seen also, that leaves a vacancy for the dean position there at the Franklin campus. And let me just briefly share an overview of how we've re-engineered that position moving forward to better serve the business community. So the job description remains the same in terms of, like I said, that position will be based out of the Franklin campus, but we are calling that position now the Dean of Corporate Learning and Professional Development. And what that will enable us to do is to service a lot of those companies in your community at a C-suite level. So from the ownership to the vice presidents, that's currently a missed opportunity for us simply by virtue of the fact of how the North Carolina Community College system is structured. So for example, J.K. Sharon, as you know, is our customized training director. J.K. does a fantastic job of touching base with those manufacturing businesses and offering them the skills that they need on the floor to be more effective. What that position oftentimes does not offer is the opportunity to go to businesses that are outside of the manufacturing realm. For example, if it were a software business, that business would likely not have the NAICS codes that makes it a viable business for JK to service. So what we have done is we've re-engineered that position to include corporate learning. And a big part of that dean's responsibility will be to go to those businesses and train those employees, for example, that may have been on the floor and now they've been promoted to a first-line managerial position. So there are unique challenges that typically occur there where you have two individuals that have worked side by side. Now one is the supervisor of the other. So those are the types of things that we're wishing to help corporations navigate conflict resolution, things like diversity training. Those are all areas that we plan to become much more involved in helping your business community grow. So I think that, well, two quick other things. You mentioned Sherry Jones and the small business, and I agree. Kudos to Sherry. She's done a phenomenal job in reaching out to those small businesses in this time of COVID-19. And then something else that Mr. Sharon is working on is, along with Dean Weary, is a advanced manufacturing institute that you'll likely hear more about as well. So that's kind of a brief overview from Vance Granville Community College.
Great.
Awesome. awesome. Thank you very much. I'm excited about the early college program growing over there. I think I've mentioned a couple times, but I got to tour it, and it's amazing, that opportunity. I mean, it's just phenomenal. So thank you guys for working with them.
It is, Matthew. Thank you. We're so pleased to offer that, and we're just excited about everything that's going on down there.
Mhm. All right. Let's see. Anybody else want to talk about anything else going on in the county?
Yeah, Matthew and Richie, this is Lou Grillo with the Carter Workforce Board. Just to kind of tie in quickly, first of all, I'd like to thank Richie for what you talked about at the beginning, the kind of coordinated effort to help the businesses as we first started experiencing COVID and making the transitions that we needed to make, or adjustments we needed to make to continue to transition to an environment that was going to be beneficial to our citizens and our businesses. And that was a great, quick movement that was done by everybody that was involved. So, I definitely appreciate the coordination with all the partners to make that happen. And just touching on that, the NC Works Career Centers have continued to stay open during the COVID activities, working virtually, mostly working at home. Just wanted to update the group that the Career Centers will be open July 20th. The centers in Oxford and Henderson will be the two that will be fully staffed, and they will have an opportunity to actually meet with the public by appointment. So services will still be offered virtually, just about everything that was able to do. People, that have we don't handle unemployment at the offices. So, people will still need to call down to Raleigh. All that is handled virtually. The office moved away from unemployment 4 years ago. But, with part of the unemployment, people need to do their check-ins to seek employment. And the centers will be able to receive calls via the phone number starting next week. We have a virtual platform set up right now. But next week, we'll have staff back in the offices. So by calling the Henderson number or the Oxford number, we will have staff in the office to answer those calls to talk about job seeking opportunities. And actually starting the 20th, what I was saying is we'll have people will be able to invite the public back in by appointment. They will need to contact the office to set up a time to come in to access the resources. But a big part of that is, coordinating with, basically what you were talking about. We have a population that has been separated from employment. There's opportunities that are no longer there. There are companies that are no longer there, and there's going to be some transition that needs to happen. There's going to be some training that needs to happen. So the coordination of the effort between Vance Granville, Piedmont Community College is also part of the region that we serve. Those great partnerships have, afforded the ability to meet the needs of the citizens, and that's still available. So we want to make sure that, that people know that the services and the people that are able to offer those services or coordinate the front end of the services, we're able to pay for or subsidize some of the training as they go to Vance Granville is available. And people are able to reach out to the career centers to get the information on how to take part in those activities. Also, Commerce has asked for an application, and we successfully have been approved as a region, coordination with Vance Granville and Piedmont Community College as well. We have it's called a National Emergency Grant to the tune of $200,000 to actually pay for training for people that are going through that transition that have been displaced and now need to be retrained, retooled on a new career. So that is available. It's exciting news as well. And part of that transition was what's called virtual enrollments. So if you guys know, or anybody who went through our career centers before, most of the activities did require you to come into the career center. So to actually have the system set up and have it approved, because of the sensitive documents that we handle, the state has approved what's called virtual enrollments, which basically if you use any of our local banks where they allow you to take a picture of a check using your smartphone or device to deposit that, so you can sit at home and deposit a check. People will now be able to upload their birth certificates, social security cards, driver's license via that means into the system that we use to get them enrolled. So once again, still providing a great service to our community, but allowing the social distancing and virtual environment that keeps the people that need the service and the people that are offering the service safe. And but still allowing what needs to be done just to serve the community. So wanted to give a quick update on those 2 points. And also the Career Center has a Facebook page, which if you looked up NC Works Career Center, Oxford or Granville County, it should pop up. But it would keep people informed of the events that are going on. So we're continuing to offer the resume writing and all the services that go along with the job seeking as well. And we're keeping that updated on the Facebook page, so our citizens can be kept abreast of what's going on.
All right, thank you, Luke. Hey, Kim, I'm just scrolling through my list here. I see you're on there. Do you want to give update to the county?
Certainly, I can touch on a few things. Open Broadband is continuing with their implementation efforts in the county. They, of course, are working in Vance County, Granville County, and Franklin County, and we're certainly in touch with them here in Franklin County. The first objective is to get Wi-Fi in Owens Park, along with getting some of the areas that the tower agreements are in place, and they are working through getting equipment installed. I won't use all the engineering technical terms that I'm not as familiar with, but they are working through that process to get equipment installed and customers turned up, hopefully in the next 30 days. That's our objective. We are talking every week as we move forward with that. At the County Commissioners meeting on Monday night, Holt Kornicki, our library director, gave an update. He was awarded, or the library was awarded, a grant from the state library for a bookmobile. And that is not just a simple vehicle that hauls books around, but it's going to be an interactive bookmobile. It's going to be equipped with hotspots and computer terminals and all the things that will make it a great pop-up library in different places, and can be used to further some of these objectives and needs in regards to broadband and connectivity for our county residents, and can be used throughout the county at events and various things. The challenges of COVID-19 continue for the county. We have worked to keep our offices open as typically right now. Most of the places are by appointment only, but we are working through making sure that we're able to continue to provide the services that folks need. Been a lot of challenges there for the county, just like it has for the municipalities. Just trying to figure out how to protect everyone, the public, the employees, and yet still deliver the services that are definitely in demand in Franklin County. So any other questions or?
Kim, I will say I've worked with several departments during all this, and challenging is a good word for it. But they've all been very helpful and worked with us. So they've been trying with our difficult circumstances.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Anybody else want to speak about anything that's going on? I have to call people out. Charles, want to talk about anything? See, I can't see his
say a
face.
few
It's hard to tell.
Yeah, I'll say a few words, Matthew. The agriculture is struggling right now. Of course, growing things and producing things don't stop, as you see as you ride down the road. But we have had a few farms impacted by this virus as far as workers and so forth. But things are still moving along. Farmers market's open on Fridays right now, just one day a week, considering what's going on. We'll revisit that as things change, but that is open on Fridays from 9 to 1. So encourage you to go out and visit that. So we're just taking it day by day, and hopefully things will improve and agricultural businesses will continue, and commodity prices will pick up soon. I did read a recent article, and I shared it with Richie and Kim, I believe, about the trade agreements and stuff over the past 2 years. We were hoping for a better year this year with trade agreements with China, but if you read any of that information, that's not looking the best in the world right now. But we'll just wait and see how things go and take it day by day.
All right. Thank you, Charles. All right, everybody, it's 9:33, so we've had you here for about an hour, hour and a half, depending on when you logged in here. So I'll let you go, and everybody's very, very busy. Yep, go ahead, Richie.
Yes, I just want to say a special shout out to Coy Floyd, Kristen King. We couldn't have done this without their guidance. Very much appreciated. Andy Kuhn, who's also stepped in and helped out with technology, and can't do anything if we don't have Lori. So there's that.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
absolutely. All right, everybody, I'm going to adjourn our meeting. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
See you, everybody.
All right.